Hello and welcome to this biblical series or biblical studies, where I'm doing a series on the biblical role of men and women. I know it can be very controversial amongst many. My name is Paul. I'm an ordained pastor. I can get into my bio in more detail at another time if you wish. But I feel prompted to do this series on the biblical role of men and women because it is very important, as it has many ramifications upon our individual lives and our society. So this is a casual platform. I do not ask for money. I am a non-denominational Christian who believes in the Holy Scriptures. So I believe that, what does the Bible say? So, when we talk about the topic of the biblical role of men and women, what's important is not my opinion, or not even your opinion or anybody's opinion, but what does God say about it? And the validity of what I'm going to say is not based upon my ability or lack of ability to argue or present the material. At the end of the day, it's what God says. And so that's what's important, is that we go to Scripture and look and put aside our own conceptions, and there might even be some misconceptions, and say, God, what do you say on this matter? So I'm going to do perhaps multiple topics. So for now, the topic is on the biblical role of men and women. And I've decided to go through a book that I ran into, and it's called the Biblical Foundation for Manhood and Womanhood. I believe it is written by Grudem, Wayne Grudem, or at least edited by Wayne Grudem. I believe the book came from, or was originated from, a series of lectures at a conference that these different men came and spoke from. So anyway, I hope I do well in representing the book, and what my thought is that I will go through each chapter and try to digest or come up with points to draw out of it, and maybe some extracts or some quotes out of each chapter, for each chapter to come up with some, what the points are, because the book is very in depth, and it can be a lot. So I'm just going to take it piece by piece and say, what's the takeaway on this? So that's the objective. Anyway, in this book we will hear from multiple authors or speakers, one of which is Wayne Grudem, another is Bruce A. Ware, another is John Piper, Richard W. Hove, Daniel Doriani, Peter Jones, and Daniel R. Heimbach. So I do have permission from the Council on Biblical Manhood and Womanhood to utilize this book in this teaching platform, and I appreciate that, and I hope I do it justice. And again, I will be doing digests of the book. So as far as errors and omissions, I'm not flawless. I'm likely to make mistakes, and but I will do my best. But I'm at my computer. My computer just went blank. Okay, I'm back. So anyway, this is what I mean by casual. This isn't going to be some polished studio grade production. This is very, very casual, and I'll have interruptions from pop-ups and things like that. But we'll just press forward. So anyway, my errors and omissions. I hope I don't make too many mistakes. Hope I don't make any mistakes, but there is a possibility that I will make some errors, and that will not reflect necessarily upon the book or the authors. I do understand that there are those that may be very hostile towards this topic, or at least hostile towards what I believe are scriptural stances on this matter. First of all, if you agree, I hope you do. And I hope you can not only agree, but implement this in your life. But if you don't agree, I'd ask you that you be peaceful about it. And I know that there's those that can be very hostile about it, because there are a lot of those that for the men that this is non-consequential, it's not relevant, and there's the whole feministic movement. Even within the church, there's what is called the evangelical feminist movement, or there would have this egalitarian perspective where they would believe that the man and the woman are equal in the relationship. And these are things that we're going to explore in Scripture. And I realize that I may get some resistance on this, but my loyalty is to Scripture, and I hope yours is also. So if you do not agree with me, and there's some hostility here, first of all, I want the very best for you, and secondly, these are not my ideas. I'm not coming up with this list or this stance based upon what I think. I'm coming up with this list of parameters of the roles of men and women scripturally based upon the Holy Scriptures. So if you don't like what I'm saying, you may not like what God's saying. And you might say, well, brother, you're the one, you might say, well, brother, I believe in Scriptures, but I believe that you're misinterpreting what Scriptures say. Well, I say that I have interpreted these teachings to the best I can and to the best of my abilities, and if you dispute them, your accountability at the end of the day is with God. So if you dispute me, it's possible that I'm in error, but if I'm not, you're actually disputing God, and there will be two potentially very real, inevitable consequences of that. One consequence that may happen to different degrees would be the inevitable consequence of not living the way God calls us to live, and then there will be consequences to that. And the other would be the accountability issue of when we all will die and appear before our Maker, and we will be called to account for how we will live, and I and you will be called to account to God for how you live and how you embrace Scripture. So it's important that at the end of the day, are you bucking up against me, or are you bucking up against God? So I ask that you come with a posture to learn to see what God says about this, about how we conduct ourselves biblically in our roles as men and as women. My goal is to do a weekly episode. So next week I'm hoping to be able to do the first chapter. Again, that'll be digest and some bullet takeaway points. And what I'd like to do is get a notebook and write these bullet points down, and perhaps review them every week or periodically, so we can step this along to embrace what these men are trying or are presenting as they see as scriptural truths. So join in with me. I look forward to you joining with me. And if you know of anybody that you think would benefit from this series, please share it with them. Again, I don't ask for money. I don't even give a platform for you to give money. So this isn't about generating money. This is about, I believe, God's heart's desire to make more clearly his intention for how men and women ought to conduct themselves. So if you know of someone that you believe will benefit from it, please share it with them, or this platform with them, and let's grow together. Let's learn together, and I look forward with our times together. And thank you for joining.